In Toronto, there are pockets of unimaginable wealth where sprawling mansions sell for tens of millions of dollars. But what most people don't know is that some of the city's most exclusive and powerful enclaves were shaped by a rich history of Jewish entrepreneurship and community building. This isn't just a story about money, it's a story about migration, ambition, and the creation of a legacy that has profoundly shaped Canada's largest city. For over a century, Toronto's Jewish community has journeyed from the crowded immigrant tenements of the ward to some of the grandest estates in the country. This migration, driven by waves of people fleeing persecution and seeking opportunity, created a unique path of upward mobility that can be traced geographically across the city. It's a path that follows one street in particular, a veritable spine of the community, Bathurst Street. It has been called the longest Jewish neighborhood in the diaspora, a corridor that connects the community's past with its ultra-affluent present. From the historic manors of Forest Hill to the new money estates of Thornhill, we're counting down the 10 richest Jewish neighborhoods in Toronto. We'll explore the stunning architecture, the jaw-dropping property values, and the powerful community institutions that define them. Have you ever wondered what it's really like inside these elite communities and who the powerful families are that define them? Join us as we uncover the history, the incredible wealth, and the legacy of Toronto's most affluent Jewish neighborhoods. Number 10. The Annex and Harbour Village. Kicking things off at number 10 is a duo of downtown neighborhoods that represent the historic heart of Toronto's Jewish journey, the Annex and Harbour Village. Today, they're known as vibrant and intellectual hubs bordering the University of Toronto, but their roots are deeply embedded in the story of Jewish settlement and affluence. These aren't the sprawling suburban enclaves we'll see later, but their significance and the wealth now concentrated in their preserved Victorian homes is undeniable. The story begins in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. As Jewish immigrants, primarily from Eastern Europe, fled poverty and persecution, they first settled in the Ward, a crowded downtown district. As families began to prosper, they moved west, establishing a new center of gravity around Kensington Market and the adjacent streets of Harbour Village and the Annex. By the 1930s, this area was a bustling epicenter of Jewish life. The streets were alive with the sound of Yiddish, and storefronts along Spadina Avenue catered to the community's every need. The Annex, in particular, became a landing spot for many Jewish families who moved into its large Victorian and Edwardian brick houses, often converting them into multifamily dwellings. These homes, with their distinctive Annex-style architecture, were a clear step up from the Ward. This history laid the groundwork for the neighborhood's present-day affluence. While the Jewish community's demographic center began its famous northward march up Bathurst Street after World War II, a fascinating reversal has occurred in recent decades. Young Jewish professionals and families, sometimes the grandchildren of those who left, are returning to revitalize Jewish life downtown. They are drawn to the unique urban character, the intellectual vibrancy, and the very heritage their ancestors built. Today, the Annex is a gentrified, upper-middle-class neighborhood where those same grand Victorian homes that once housed multiple immigrant families are now single-family residences commanding millions of dollars. The neighborhood's average income is significantly above the Toronto average, and its leafy streets and historic architecture make it one of the most desirable and expensive places to live. It's a place where history has come full circle, transforming from a bustling immigrant enclave into a wealthy, established neighborhood that still honors its rich Jewish heritage. At number 9, we're not talking about a single, defined neighborhood, but a sprawling, vital artery that has been the heart of the Toronto Jewish community for over 70 years, the Bathurst Corridor. Specifically, we're focusing on the stretch from St. Clair Avenue northwards through neighborhoods like Cedarvale and Bathurst Manor. This area represents the first major post-war suburban push for the community, a story of upward mobility and the creation of a modern Jewish life in Toronto. After World War II, as the Jewish community became more established and middle class, families began moving north from the crowded downtown neighborhoods. They were drawn by the classic promise of suburbia, more space, modern homes, and quiet streets. This demographic shift was a common trend, but along Bathurst Street, it took on a distinctly Jewish character. This stretch became the physical manifestation of the community's aspirations. Bathurst Manor, developed in the early 1950s from farmland, attracted second-generation Canadians and newly arrived Holocaust survivors alike with modern ranch-style houses, bungalows, and side splits on generous lots. The move was so significant that by the 1950s and 60s, this section of North York became the new demographic heart of Toronto Jewry. The wealth here is not the ostentatious mega-mansion wealth we'll find later in our list. It's a more grounded, established affluence. These are comfortable, single-family homes that have appreciated immensely over the decades, representing significant real estate assets for the families who have lived there for generations. And the infrastructure is key. The Bathurst Corridor is dense with Jewish life. Synagogues of every denomination, Jewish day schools, community centers, kosher butchers and bakeries line the street. It's a self-sustaining ecosystem where one can live a fully realized Jewish life. This is the area where Holy Blossom Temple, Toronto's oldest Jewish congregation, moved in 1938, building a landmark synagogue that cemented Bathurst as the community's main street. This area tells the story of a community building its suburban dream with a strong Jewish identity. At number 8, we enter one of Toronto's oldest and most prestigious enclaves, Rosedale. This isn't a neighborhood defined by its Jewish population in terms of numbers, but its history is intertwined with some of the earliest and most powerful Jewish families who broke into the city's old money elite. Located just north of downtown, Rosedale is a world unto itself. Designated as a heritage conservation district, its winding, tree-lined streets are deliberately confusing, designed to keep out traffic and preserve a serene isolation. The homes are a breathtaking collection of Victorian, Georgian, and Edwardian mansions. This is where Toronto's established elite have lived for generations, and average home prices sit comfortably in the multi-million-dollar range. The Jewish connection to Rosedale is one of quality, not quantity. It begins with figures like Sigmund Samuel, a hardware magnate who was one of the early Jewish business leaders to establish himself in this exclusive enclave. This was a huge achievement when social and economic barriers were common. Families like the Samuels weren't just moving into a wealthy neighborhood, they were breaking into the highest echelons of Toronto society. Others included the Frankel brothers, who built a scrap metals empire, and Jacob Singer, an Austrian immigrant who started with a pawn shop and became one of Toronto's largest landowners by 1911. Their success allowed them to access neighborhoods like Rosedale, signaling a new level of integration and influence. The wealth in Rosedale is understated but immense, measured not just in dollars, but in lineage and location. Today, it continues to attract Toronto's wealthiest residents, including prominent Jewish families in business, law, and medicine. Its appeal lies in its unique combination of seclusion and centrality. It feels like a country estate, yet it's minutes from the financial district. Rosedale highlights the pioneering individuals who were among the first to build major empires and take their place alongside the city's traditional elite. The defining characteristic of York Mills is the sheer size of its properties, set back on vast lots of a half-acre or more. The architecture is a diverse mix, from mid-century modern masterpieces to monumental custom-built mansions exceeding 10,000 square feet. People don't just buy a house here, they commission a personal resort. The wealth is palpable. The combined area of Bridal Path, Sunnybrook, York Mills consistently reports one of the highest average home prices, recently hovering around $3.4 million. But this average is deceiving. Many properties trade for well over $5 million, with listings often surpassing the $10 million mark. The Jewish community in York Mills is prominent and influential, often comprising families who have built major empires in real estate, finance, and retail. They are pillars of Toronto's philanthropic community, and their names frequently adorn hospital wings and community centers. Figures like Mitchell Goldhar, the founder of real estate giant Smart Centers, are representative of the business acumen found here. Living in York Mills is a statement of having reached a high peak of financial success. We're halfway through our countdown, and we've already journeyed from the historic heart of Jewish Toronto to the sprawling estates of Millionaire's Mile. But I want to know what you think. Based on what you've seen so far, Which of these neighborhoods would you live in if money were no object? The historic charm of the Annex or the secluded grandeur of Hogs Hollow? Let me know in the comments below. Now, let's get back to the countdown. At number 4, we arrive at the most mythologized wealthy neighborhood in Canada, the Bridal Path. Dubbed Billionaire's Row, this isn't just an enclave of the rich, it is the chosen home of the ultra-rich. While not exclusively Jewish, the Bridal Path has long been a favored location for some of Toronto's most successful Jewish magnates, entrepreneurs, and celebrities. The neighborhood's story begins in the 1930s with a vision for an exclusive equestrian community, with grand estates connected by horse riding paths. The bridle paths have since been paved over, but the name stuck, and the original principle of large, secluded properties has defined it ever since. The homes here are legendary. We're talking mega mansions regularly exceeding 20,000 square feet, with indoor pools, ballrooms, and garages fit for a luxury showroom. The average lot size is several acres. The architecture runs the gamut from French chateaus to hyper-modern palaces. The price of entry is staggering. The median listing price often exceeds $7.5 million, but that number barely scratches the surface. It is routine for homes to sell for between $15 million and $30 million, with some listings soaring past $45 million. The Bridal Path has been home to some of Toronto's most prominent Jewish figures, like media mogul Moses Zeimer. Today, its most globally recognized resident is the Jewish-Canadian superstar Drake, whose custom-built 50,000-square-foot mansion, the Embassy, has become a modern landmark. Living in the Bridal Path is about more than just wealth. It's a global statement. It represents the absolute zenith of individual financial achievement, and it has consistently been the address of choice for some of the most powerful Jewish families in the country. For our number 3 spot, we head north of the city limits to a full-blown Jewish metropolis, Thornhill. Straddling the municipalities of Vaughan and Markham, Thornhill's story is one of explosive growth and the creation of a massive, self-sustaining Jewish community. If the Bathurst Corridor was the heart of the post-war community, Thornhill is its 21st-century evolution. Just a few decades ago, Thornhill was largely farmland. Its transformation has been breathtaking. Starting in the 1970s, it became the primary destination for Jewish families moving north, a migration that included a significant influx from Montreal. More recently, it's become a primary landing spot for Jewish immigrants from Israel, South Africa, and the former Soviet Union. This has created one of the most concentrated Jewish populations in North America. In some parts of Thornhill, the Jewish population density is nearly 40%. Today, it's estimated that a huge portion of the entire Toronto area's Jewish population lives in York Region, with Thornhill as its nucleus. The real estate is a mix of original suburban homes and a massive number of new, custom-built luxury houses. While older homes and condos bring the overall average price down, the pockets of wealth are deep, with older bungalows constantly being torn down to make way for 5,000-square-foot modern homes. But the true symbol of Thornhill's power is its communal infrastructure. The crown jewel is the Joseph and Wolf Lebovich Jewish Community Campus, a 50-acre, multi-hundred-million-dollar mega-complex that serves as the heart of Jewish life for the whole region. It is packed with synagogues, dozens of day schools, and high-end kosher restaurants. Thornhill's position is not just about its home prices, but about the concentration of communal wealth and power. As we approach the pinnacle, we arrive at the legendary neighborhood that is almost synonymous with elite Jewish life in Toronto, Forest Hill. For our number 2 spot, we focus on Forest Hill North. It blends the neighborhood's trademark prestige with a slightly more family-oriented, suburban feel, all while maintaining staggering levels of wealth. Established as a village in the 1920s, Forest Hill's founding bylaws mandated that every home had to be designed by an architect and have a tree planted on the lot. This resulted in a neighborhood of unique, stately homes set within a majestic tree canopy. The northward migration of Toronto's Jewish community found its ultimate expression here. As families achieved major success, they moved to this exclusive enclave. Forest Hill became the definitive symbol of having arrived. Forest Hill North, stretching from Eglinton Avenue upwards, offers slightly larger lots and a quieter atmosphere than its southern half. The homes are a magnificent showcase of imposing Tudor mansions and stately Georgians. The real estate values are astronomical. The median sales price in Forest Hill North recently hovered around $2.4 million, but it's standard for the detached homes that define the neighborhood to trade for between $4 million and $10 million. The affluence is deeply connected to its powerful community institutions, including some of the city's most prestigious synagogues. Furthermore, the area is surrounded by Canada's most elite private schools, Upper Canada College and Bishop Strachan School, making it the most desirable location for families prioritizing top-tier education. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle of wealth where the children of Toronto's elite are educated together, forming the next generation of the city's power brokers. And here it is, the #1 richest, most prestigious Jewish neighborhood in Toronto, Forest Hill South. This is the crown jewel, the absolute pinnacle of prestige, wealth, and influence. Everything that makes Forest Hill legendary is amplified here. The streets are wider, the hills more dramatic, and the mansions are on average even more spectacular. This is the original Lower Forest Hill, where early 20th century tycoons built their sprawling estates. These aren't just houses, they are historical landmarks. The Jewish community's presence in Forest Hill South represents the apex of the multi-generational journey from the downtown immigrant wards. This was the ultimate destination for the city's most successful Jewish families in the mid-20th century. The families here are often in their second, third, or even fourth generation of wealth, with names synonymous with Toronto's business and philanthropic landscape. The numbers are simply staggering. It is consistently ranked as one of Toronto's most expensive neighborhoods. The average price for a detached home here soars to an incredible $4.38 million, and that's just the average. It is commonplace for properties in the heart of Forest Hill South to be listed for between $10 million and $20 million. The affluence is deeply connected to its powerful community institutions, including some of the city's most prestigious synagogues. Furthermore, the area is surrounded by Canada's most elite private schools, Upper Canada College and Bishop Strachan School, making it the most desirable location for families prioritizing top-tier education. This creates a self-reinforcing cycle of wealth where the children of Toronto's elite are educated together, forming the next generation of the city's power brokers. So, what have we seen? This wasn't just a tour of rich neighborhoods, it was a map of a 100-year journey. It's a story that starts with escaping persecution and poverty, and through generations of hard work, entrepreneurship, and an unwavering commitment to community, culminates in reaching the highest echelons of Canadian society. From the garment trade on Spadina to the boardrooms of Bay Street, from the crowded streets of Kensington Market to the gated estates of the Bridal Path, the story is written into the very geography of Toronto. An honorable mention must go to the historic Jewish ward itself, around Old City Hall. Though no longer a residential enclave, it was the foundational starting point for this entire story. The legacy of these neighborhoods is not just in their multi-million-dollar mansions, but in the institutions they've built: the synagogues, the massive Lebovic campus, the schools, and the charitable foundations that support the entire city. It's a story of a community that has not only achieved immense success, but has used that success to build a lasting and powerful legacy. If you enjoyed this look into the history and wealth of Toronto's elite communities, make sure you like and subscribe for more explorations into the world of power and influence. Thanks for joining us.